And so Moja, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Again, my name is Moja Harmon, and today I'm going to talk to you about making the investment in yourself. I'm going to talk about why you should invest in coaching and what can hold you back from making that investment, and also talk about how coaching can provide a return on investment. So, before I get started, I wanted to find out how many of you have had coaching before or currently work with a coach. And it doesn't matter what type of coach, it can be a leadership coach, life coach, financial coach. Awesome. And so, thinking about those of you that have worked with a coach, and even those of you that have never worked with one before, have you ever had that feeling of feeling stuck where you just really can't make that forward progression? You really don't know how to make a change. And so coaching is something that can help you with that, that cycle of just feeling stuck and how to break that cycle. And so if you haven't invested in coaching before, think about what is it costing you today by not making an investment in yourself. And remember that, success doesn't happen overnight. And sometimes, we need additional help to support us in breaking that cycle. And so it could be costing you lack of clarity. It could be costing you being unfulfilled. It can also cost you self doubt. You may also have limited growth. It could be that you're experiencing stress or being overwhelmed and even burnout. And so you may also be costing yourself not really tapping into your full potential. And so coaching, again, is that valuable resource to support you and to determine that root cause of why you're feeling stuck and how you can break that cycle. And so you can get that clarity, start identifying your goals and your values and how they align. Because a lot of times we have goals, but they may not align. And so that's where we have that conflict or that gap. And how do we bridge that gap by really, thinking about what it is that we really do want? Is it something that someone is either expecting of us? Is it because of maybe the pressures that we're putting on ourselves? Or do we just kind of have that pie in the sky thing, right? Like it's not really realistic, or maybe it is realistic, but we just don't know how to achieve that. And that's what coaching can really help you do, is just get that clarity, have that alignment, and then also make a plan of how you're going to move forward to achieve your goals. And so before you can really think about making an investment in coaching in yourself as well, it doesn't come without considering what those costs are, right? With any type of investment, you have to weigh the pros and cons to make sure that that investment is valid or not. And so I'm going to talk about, give you 5 strategies to kind of help you make that decision. Um, Start with visualizing your future. What is that life that you really want to live? And what is that a career that you aspire to have? Um, that really allows you to start, really envisioning your new self, right? That future state, not just your current state. Allow time for self reflection. Taking time out to really do that introspective look really allows for you to identify what are those challenges that you might be facing currently, what are some potential areas for growth, and then also just make you more self-aware, right? A lot of times we're just kind of in go mode and we really don't take time to really reflect. What are those lessons learned? And if you are leading an organization or leading others, because we're all leaders, but some of us are in different capacities of being a leader, we might not necessarily be thinking about that feedback that we're receiving. And then if we're not leading people or an organization, what is that feedback that we're also receiving from our managers or supervisors that might give us some insight on areas where we can grow and move forward? Also, a coach can help you with identifying those areas, right? And giving you that clarity that you're needing in order to identify what your goals are. Also, just recognizing the need for support, right? I mean, as women, we always are um, doing things. We can do 10 things at once, and we may not necessarily ask for support. So that's another strategy to really start taking advantage of is just recognizing where is it in our life that we need support, and making that investment in coaching can also help with identifying those different areas if it's not evident yet. Also, it can help you to acknowledge that you need help, right? That's one of the first steps, is on acknowledging that you need help. Also, making that proactive step, right, to improve. The fourth strategy is just being open to change. Change is hard. It's hard for me, it's hard for you, I'm sure, and it's hard for everyone that you might encounter. Anytime you're trying to do something different or new, change requires commitment. It requires an investment in your time and your effort. And so just being open to change really enables you to embrace the idea that your skills and abilities can be developed or improved over time. Again, success doesn't happen overnight, so it really is a process. And as if you've had coaching, you've probably heard the term trust the process. Um, the fifth strategy is embracing vulnerability, just really learning to be open. And vulnerability can be hard, right? I mean, we're not all of us are open and just willing to share kind of those deep things that we kind of hold sacred to ourselves, right? But just really being able to tap into that just allows you to partner with a coach in order to identify those different challenge areas and areas that where you want to improve, and just get that clarity that you need so that you can make that forward step. And that's what coaching is really about, is making a step forward. And so knowing that coaching provides that safe space, it really does help with just allowing you to tap into being more vulnerable. And so thinking about just, what coaching can do and those five strategies, what is holding you back from making that investment in yourself? And so some common, excuses that we might make is, I don't have enough time. Um, I can do it on my own. Coaching's not for me. And there's so many more excuses, right? Or reasons why we really don't want to have that conversation with ourselves, kind of that introspective of, how we can think about this type of support. And so here are five reasons that could be holding you back. It could be fear, right? We all have fears, and fear really does keep us like in the same place, right? It doesn't allow us to move forward. We could be afraid of failure, and failure is something that we've all faced at some point in our life, and also our career. There could be things that we're really good at, and when we take on a new challenge, or maybe we don't have all the information, you don't want to fail. But just reframe how you think about failure, right? Failure is really that first attempt in learning. So really thinking about it from a different perspective really allows for um, those thoughts to kind of be minimized. Also, just those limiting beliefs, right? Those stories that we kind of tell ourselves, that can also hold us back and not allow us to move forward. Not making ourselves a priority, right? I'm sure all of us has faced, and probably currently still do face, challenges of how do we make ourselves a priority, right? We have a lot of things on our calendars. We're doing a lot of things for other people, supporting others, but when it comes to ourselves, it can be a little challenging, right? Just being more me centric. Sometimes it's seen as being selfish, but really it's selfless, right? Just being able to take care of ourselves better. And as you already know, if you're able to fill your cup, then you can pour into others. And so just kind of keeping that in mind when thinking about making that investment. Also, our pride, right? Like, we're superheroes. We can do it all. Like, we don't need help. We don't need to seek out any help from anyone else, because we can do it all on our own, right? Um, but really thinking about how asking for help in different capacities, including coaching, it can prevent us from, or minimize us from being overwhelmed and burnout, because that's a real thing, right? We take on too much. We're not asking for help. We're afraid to fail, and we just have fear of the unknown or things that we're not ready to take on as a new challenge can really keep us from making that forward progress. And so thinking about that investment, you want to know what's in it for me, right? How do I get a return on my investment? And with coaching, not only do you as a leader have a win, but also your organization has a win, because as you go through that journey of coaching and making that investment in yourself, you're going to start showing up differently, right? People are going to notice, even at home and at work, they're going to notice something's different, right? Like, I think you might be doing something. Like, can you share what that is? And so, thinking about that for a moment, you can put in the chat if you want to. How do you think coaching could provide a return on investment for yourself and your organization? Think about that for a minute. When you change one thing about yourself, you change everything, and that affects everyone. Yeah, that's really good. Coaching often gives you the courage to try something you might not have otherwise. Being more emotionally stable helps you at work with yourself and with your family. And those are all good examples, right? And so here are 5 ways. Oh, here's one more. The idea of getting a little better every day. If I'm steadily improving, I can carry that over to my organization. And then there's one more coming in. Okay. I see you're typing, Regina, but it doesn't, is nothing's coming up. Okay. So there's 5 ways you and your okay. 5 ways you and your organization wins. And that is, it can enhance your leadership skills, right? So coaching can equip leaders with the ability to take their leadership to the next level. It can also equip them with the ability to mentor and develop others and create a leadership pipeline for your organization. So not only is the leader benefiting, but also your organization is able to get their leaders to have more skill sets, because that leader is able to kind of pay it forward, right? They're able to um, be more equipped to lead others as well. It can also optimize performance. Coaching can help leaders with the tools and strategies and the mindset to overcome challenges, right? And be able to leverage their strengths and also make a significant impact on their organization and those that they lead. And so it can also result in more high performing teams, being able to tap into those different skills that leaders may not have known that they needed to develop, right? And with coaching, it can really help that leader to really tap into those um, different areas to really enhance themselves. And also the fact that you're receiving coaching and making that investment, you're also able to contribute even more to your organization's success and the success at home, right? Because a lot of this it carries over. Coaching is holistic. It's not just about career, it's not about life. They're kind of like intertwined, right? If you're more happy at home, you're more happy at work, and vice versa. So there's a benefit in both areas. It can also maximize efficiency, right? A lot of times we have challenges in how to prioritize our tasks. So just kind of making that investment, you're become more aware of the areas where you might be wasting time, or maybe you don't have those different skills that you're able to leverage. And so really being able to communicate more effectively and make better decisions and be more strategic can really allow you to better utilize your time to be more efficient. Um, Also turn stagnation into progress, right? Every leader at some point in their life will become stagnant. and don't know to how to progress forward. And so in making the investment in coaching, it really helps with that challenge, right? It allows us to um, have a partner to really help us to identify areas where we can actually grow and turn that stagnation into forward progress. Also, the return can also lead to having increased satisfaction and being more engaged, right? Because you don't have all that mind clutter, right? You have someone to actually talk to and have a plan and strategy of how to kind of navigate those different challenges that you might face and kind of minimize kind of the drama, right? That kind of happens in our daily lives at home and at work. Um, Being able to have more life balance, right? You're learning how to manage your time better, but you're also learning how to better prioritize what's really important. And that's kind of going back to what are your values, what are your goals, and what are the things that are non-negotiables? What are the things that are taking away from you being able to kind of move forward in the direction that you want to, that have that true alignment. It can also lead to having better relationships, and that can enhance customer service, right? When you're showing up different, it allows you to be more focused and that you can take care of those things that are important at work as well. Um, and the list goes on and on. So um, those are just some of the ways that you have a return on investment. And then for your organization, because you've made that investment yourself, and in some cases your organization is paying for your coaching, right? So they're invested not only in your growth, but also they want a return. So having more skill sets and becoming a better leader, being more engaged, having more satisfaction also leads to having reduced turnover, right? Employees are more engaged. They're also reducing costs because they're able to be more strategic and really focus on what's important for the organization. So those are just some of the returns that not only you but your organization can receive. And then again, that pipeline that I mentioned as well is really valuable for your organization because you're developing a growth mindset and cultivating and planting those seeds for others. And so just remember that when making the investment in yourself, it really starts with you, right? It's all about you taking that first step and thinking about what you can do today to take action. And so I'll leave it open for any questions that you might have.
I'm curious, do you have a certain like type of company or business owner that you work with mostly? Like, do you have a certain type of person, I guess?
I would say my ideal client is someone who's highly motivated. They're a high achiever, but yet they get stuck, right? And so they know what success looks like. They know what it's like to have a plan, but they just don't know how to kind of get out of that cycle of being stuck. It's not necessarily an industry or a specific person beyond just kind of in that. And I love coaching women. I love coaching BIPOC leaders. I think that's important as women typically may not get that incentive to grow, right? Men are going to get it no matter what, even if they want it, if they don't. But just women in general, we either have to fight for it or someone, we're lucky enough, someone kind of introduces it to us, or we have that growth mindset already. Aaron?
So to follow up from Shonda's, yeah, I'm curious, like, are you specifically centered around like business owners or executives of the businesses, or are coaching services applicable abroad? Is it like life skills? It sounds more like specific career goals. And um, what does that look like? I'm sorry, I haven't visited your website yet, but I plan to, because I'm excited to learn more about you and see how I can, encourage others to reach out to you as well. but
No,
let me know.
that's a good question. I've coached executives, I've coached people who are managers and people who are not in a supervisory role. Um, I would say more leadership and life coaching, not necessarily a business coach. Business
Okay.
probably someone who's probably going to help you with, how to grow by a certain percentage. Really, it's more about the coaching that I do is more about, what are certain areas that you are feeling stuck and that you really want to like move forward. It could be I want to show up and be able to communicate more with my staff, or I just want to be a better communicator so that I can maybe take advantage of opportunities or articulate um, what I want, just different areas. Um, and it really depends on the person, right? Because everyone's going to have a unique situation. Um,
Cool. Interesting.
hope that's helpful.
Yeah, I'm excited to visit your website.
Oh, so question in the chat was, if someone is interested in hiring a coach, how would you guide them in deciding what type of coach would be best for them? I would say with any coach, there's always some type of discovery call where you're asking that prospective person a series of questions to kind of get an idea what it is that they're looking for. What is that challenge they're trying to overcome? And that really kind of gives the coach, no matter what type of coach they are, more insight on what's that problem that that person is trying to solve. And that kind of speaks to kind of your question too, Aaron.
What kind of investment? Sorry, I didn't mean to use her. What kind of investment is it in coaching other than time? I mean, financially. Um,
In terms of
like typically, is it something? Is it like hourly or is it by a goal rate or I don't know. I'm also on the board for NIMBA and I represent a lot of starting minority and diverse business owners also for that association. And I was just wanting to brag about you there. So I was
I
trying
would
to make sure.
say, I would say it depends on the coach. Some charge hourly, some have packages where you might get so many coaching sessions that are typically anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. It just kind of depends on the coach and their kind of their style or whatever they think is most effective. So for me, I typically do 60 minutes. I'll typically do about 6 months. A year sometimes is beneficial. It just kind of depends on, you know, the challenge and also um, maybe their organization wants to have more of that long-term support for their leaders so that they're getting more out of it by having a longer type of package where it would be typically like 12 months. And then once you get to a point where you've had coaching, then it's kind of more like ad hoc, right? Like it could be where you have a few follow-on sessions that are kind of you can use at your discretion, where you might need some spot coaching because you have some tools and you've developed capabilities to kind of help you thrive. And so therefore it's more on a case-by-case basis at that point.
Moja, what's your process for someone to hire you for coaching? Do you have a form? I mean, tell me what your process is.
My process is I do have a form, and then I also have a discovery call with an individual based on, the responses from the form and just find out, what it is that they're seeking in hiring a coach. And sometimes people don't even know what coaching is, right? So even talking about what it is, what it looks like, what are the expectations of not only me as their coach, but also of them as the person that's going to be coached. And really, it's about just kind of both of us kind of filling each other out. And it could be another conversation. It may not happen in that one conversation. It's really about developing that trust and seeing if we're a good fit. And that's with any coaching relationship, right? just if is it a good fit, and what is it that that coach can provide as a resource to support that person in their challenge that they want to overcome and how they want to grow.
Well, I
Oh,
appreciate your statement to turn stagnation into progress. That's a good thought for the day.
yeah, I mean, me personally, I mean, I've been there before. I've had a coach. You know, I think coaching should be accessible to everyone, and it should be throughout all the different phases of your life, right? Especially starting
Mhm.
off, you know, there's a lot of challenges of entering the workforce. And as you know, have different transitions in your life, if you become a parent or empty nester or whatever, there's different challenges that come along with that as well. Oh, what is an example of a success story? I think all of this is wonderfully fascinating. I would say one example of coaching an executive was they were in a situation where they were leading an organization. It had a lot of challenges. They knew that at some point they would have to um, seek another opportunity. But in the interim, there was just so many things that they were faced with. So they wanted to have a coach to be intentional and how to deal with those different challenges. And throughout that coaching relationship, they worked on a lot of different areas, and then they ended up finding an opportunity, and they were really tapping into kind of being more bold, right? And just not waiting for an opportunity to come to them, but really go and seek it out and just be able to be more confident and be able to communicate what it is that they wanted and what they needed. I don't know what time it is. Oh,
Oh,
we're
we have
almost at
about
one.
one, yeah, we have about 1 minute.
Okay. Well, that's all. I can,
Well,
do I need to put my info in the chat?
yeah, go ahead.
No.
And
All
thank
right.
you very much for
Thank
sharing that. Well,
you.
I got some good things that I wrote down. And I'm sure everyone else did too. And then next week, Tracy Murphy with Employee Indy will be on to discuss next level training grants.
Wonderful.
And our
And
next
help.
live event is coming up on 8/27. So we just had a luncheon last Thursday. It was great. It was sold
Mhm.
out. We had a lot of fun. Moja, thank you so much for doing
Mhm.
this for us. I also took a lot of great notes. There were several tips and pointers that you gave that I am very much appreciated. Look, Erin's showing all her notes. Look at you being a good student. I love it.
You know what? I drink up everything. Like I come to this world as a dry sponge, and when I recognize value, and I feel privileged to have the opportunity to learn more. So thank you for being
Thank you
present.
so much.
Thank
Thank you. I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you, ladies.
I just
Have a
dropped the
great week.
registration link in for our event on the 27th. If anyone is interested in checking that out and joining us, it's going to be a really good time. So I look forward to seeing all of you next week, and hopefully I'll see you on the 27th as well.
Mhm.
All right. Enjoy your
Bye.
week, everyone. Thank you, Moja.